The teenagers spent the next few days recovering from their ordeal. They were physically exhausted and emotionally drained, and they had a hard time adjusting to their normal lives again. They had seen things that no one else had seen, and they had experienced a terror that was beyond comprehension. But even though they were scared, they were also curious. They wanted to know more about the mysterious book they had found and the dark magic that had transported them to another world. They knew that they couldn't just ignore what they had seen, and they were determined to uncover the truth. They decided to do some research, hoping to find some clues about the book and the symbols they had seen. They went to the library and combed through old books and manuscripts, hoping to find something that would shed light on their experience. They were surprised by what they found. There were several books that talked about the mansion they had visited and the strange rituals that had taken place there. According to these books, the mansion had been owned by a powerful sorcerer who had used it as his base of operations. The sorcerer was said to have practiced dark magic and performed unspeakable rituals using the mansion as a portal to other worlds. He had been a recluse, never leaving the mansion and rarely seen by anyone. But his power was known throughout the land and many feared him. The teenagers were shocked by what they read. They had no idea that the mansion had such a dark history, and they had no idea that the book they had found was connected to the sorcerer's magic. They knew that they had to be careful, for they had stumbled upon something that was beyond their understanding. They decided to investigate the mansion again, hoping to find some more clues. They went there at night, when the moon was full and the stars were bright. They entered the mansion cautiously, using their flashlights to guide them through the dark halls. As they walked through the mansion, they heard strange noises and felt a cold breeze that seemed to come from nowhere. They knew that they were not alone, and that something was watching them. But they pressed on, determined to find the truth. Finally, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber. It was behind a secret door that had been hidden by the sorcerer's magic. Inside, they found an altar and a strange device that looked like a portal. It was humming with energy, and they could feel the power emanating from it. One of the teenagers noticed a book lying on the altar. It was the same book they had found before, but this time it was open to a page with a strange symbol on it. The symbol seemed to be glowing with a faint light, and they could feel its power. Suddenly, the room shook and the portal device activated. The teenagers were thrown to the ground, and they felt themselves being pulled towards the portal. They tried to resist, but the force was too strong. They were being dragged into another world, a world that was darker and more terrifying than anything they had ever seen. Suddenly, the room shook and the portal device activated. The teenagers were thrown to the ground, and they felt themselves being pulled towards the portal. They tried to resist, but the force was too strong. They were being dragged into another world, a world that was darker and more terrifying than anything they had ever seen. They were thrown into a pit of darkness, where they could feel the screams of the damned echoing all around them. They were surrounded by twisted creatures and dark shadows, and they knew that they were in a world beyond anything they had ever imagined. But this time, they were not alone. They were surrounded by a group of hooded figures, who seemed to be chanting in a language they could not understand. The figures were motionless, and they could feel their cold eyes watching them. Suddenly, the figures parted, revealing the woman with the yellow eyes. She was standing in front of them, her eyes glowing with a bright yellow light. She spoke in a voice that was both sweet and terrifying, telling them that they had entered a world that the creature looked up, its eyes meeting hers. It let out a deep growl, revealing its razor-sharp teeth. Her heart raced as she realized that this creature was not something she could fight off alone. Suddenly, the creature lunged at her, its claws reaching out to grab her. She tried to dodge, but it was too fast. It grabbed onto her arm, piercing her skin with its sharp claws. She screamed in pain as she tried to pull away, but the creature's grip was too strong. She could feel its hot breath on her face as it leaned in closer, its eyes fixed on hers. In that moment, she knew that she was going to die. She closed her eyes and waited for the end. But then, there was a sudden flash of light, and the creature was gone. She opened her eyes to see a figure standing before her, holding a glowing sword. The figure spoke, "You are safe now. Do not be afraid." She looked up at the figure in disbelief. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am a guardian," the figure replied. "I have been sent to protect you from the creatures that roam this world." The guardian helped her to her feet and led her out of the forest, back to her village. She never saw the creature again, but she knew that the guardian was watching over her, keeping her safe from harm. From that day on, she was never the same. She knew that there were things in this world that were beyond her understanding, and she had seen firsthand the power of the guardians who protected humanity from the darkness that lurked in the shadows.